And for me, it's great to see how this has developed, because I've been here. This is my third Gamescom now. And I remember the first one was COG TSM. Everyone's, GG, Reginald, everything's like that. And now actually how it's developed, you just saw all the players there, who they represent. You've got Korean players in there, obviously Doublelift in there. You've got Zoro Zero in there, Cloud9, Meteor. So there's a lot of new emerging teams that these guys have developed through the LCS that everybody's actually starting to look up to.
Exactly. The cool thing about this is a lot of the players in this tournament are having their first competitive experience, because a lot of them probably got interested in it by watching the Gamescom 2 years ago and saying, you know, maybe that could be me.
And, well, maybe it is. You just saw the Australians say, it's the first time I left the country, and what a way to go. I mean, to come all the way to Europe, of course. So, all right, guys, if you guys are feeling a little overwhelmed with all the information we have just uploaded, don't worry. You can, of course, go over to lolesports.com for all the brackets, the stats, the results, everything else you need to keep up with this epic week of gaming.
Yeah, and once you're done checking out all the info, open up a new tab, head over to on Twitter, and then let us know. Which player do you think will have the most impact on the wild card tournament, and why? We're at LOL Esports. Be sure to use the hashtag LOLWC, and we'll be reading the best responses live later today.
All right, guys, we're just moments away from our first game of the day as the International Wildcard Tournament kicks off with Gaming Gear taking on Dark Passage and Lion Gaming. They're going to be facing off against Team Immunity.
And remember, since these games will be going on simultaneously, we'll be dual streaming, so you don't have to miss a minute of the matches. That'll help determine who goes to the Season 3 World Championship. This stream will feature the CIS champs Gaming Gear taking on Turkey's top team, Dark Passage, while the second stream will be the Latin American champions Lion taking on Oceania's Team Immunity.
Yeah, we've got to take a short break, which means you have 3.5 minutes to take care of any last-minute chores before we kick off with the first match live from Gamescom here in Cologne, Germany. Consider yourself warned. We will be right back.
Hello, Legends International Wildcard B stream here at Gamescom. My name is Joe Miller. Manning the desk to me is the lovely Jason Kaplan.
I'm lovely today. Together we'll be taking you through the first 3 matches of the International Wildcard Games taking place here on Stream B.
Well, our first game of the day features Lion Gaming facing off against Team Immunity.
Yeah, and coming into this match, Lion Gaming hasn't dropped a single game as they made their way through the Latin American North qualifiers and the Latin American regionals on their way to Gamescom.
And Nazzle the support.
Not to mention Hacker V2, he actually played quite a bit over in North America on the server, and actually, I think I remember playing against him way back in the day when I was over there. But on the red side for Team Immunity, we're gonna have Swiper in that top lane, see how well he can do up there. We have Alicia in the jungle, Heavens in the middle lane, Ray Dare as the AD carry, and Rosie as support.
So 2 incredible teams and a lot of pride as well. And I've been seeing the buzz around Twitter and Facebook. The fans are coming out for all of these teams. You know, the Australians, everyone from Oceania really getting behind Immunity. Everyone from Latin America getting in there behind the likes of Lion, and the Brazilians. You know, the crazy, awesome people that they are, all in here behind Pain. And there's some really great fans. And that just goes to show. We heard from the videos earlier on that it means a lot to these teams. They have a lot of respect for the big names that they watch on a weekly basis in the LCS in North America and Europe. Obviously in OGN there was a lot of talk about Mad Life and the likes of Shy and Flame earlier on, and you know, these guys are fighting for a place at the World Championships. To take on teams like that, they're almost idols here in League of Legends.
And the thing is, they're fighting for the regions to be there. Like we've had, I remember back in Australia, they were talking about, you know, we want a server dedicated to us because it's hard to play with such high ping, and now they finally have it. Now they finally have a team here who could potentially get into the Worlds and play, just like you said, against all these top teams. And it hasn't been an easy road for both these teams. You know, for Lion, they had a bracket with 256 teams, participants, to get here. They're the top team, and that just kind of shows that with these emerging regions, there's a lot of teams up and coming, a lot of teams looking to, you know, finally show that they deserve to be at the top of the standings for, you know, across the world. And we'll see what's going to happen today.
Well, we're going to get into the bans and the picks here for our first game of the International Wildcard Tournament. As we said, Lion taking on Immunity, and already as we see the first few bans, and I just want to touch on the point that although we've seen a little bit from both these teams, you know, the VODs are out there for their qualifiers and what have you, what they've been practicing in between then and now, and we've heard from a lot of European LCS teams who've had the privilege of scrimming with these guys before this, that some of them are very, very good, that they're innovative, that they are doing a lot of copying from other regions as well to try and find the best way. Right now the band's coming in thick and fast, so let's go through them. Lion picking out Evelyn, Elise and Shen. pretty standard bans, honestly, across the board on that side. And coming in then for Immunity, Kennen taken away against Porky. Nautilus, which is one of Hacker V2's biggest champions, played it the most in the qualifiers, and Thresh taken out as well against Nurzel.
Yeah, and looking up all of the teams, we had, the time to kind of prepare, and a lot of them played Nautilus. It was really weird. Like,
yeah,
across the board, a lot of them played Nautilus, when we don't really even see that played in European LCS too much anymore. So, kind of don't want to go up against that champion. Very strong CC, not to mention he was buffed, and I believe 3.8. He has more armor, and the cooldown on his W was reduced, so take that away. But yeah, the Zac So for Porky. It's really cool to see how he plays in the top lane. He played it quite a bit in the qualifiers to get here, and we've all known how strong as that can really be if you're really good at him.
So we're going to see we've got to go through this because they're picking really quickly on this one. Lissandra and Jarvan taking in for IM here, and on the other side, Sona Vayne going to be picked up for Lion.
Yeah, so the Vayne is actually played quite a bit by Seiya. He's actually one of his most played champions, and you kind of would expect that with how strong she is, even with the changes to her ultimate, the cooldown being increased, so she can't obviously use it as often, but we've seen just so many times how popular she can be. With the Silver Bolt, with that attack speed build, you can just decimate an entire team. And I'm curious to see, is he going to run Cleanse against a team that IM already has built up against them? Because you have an Annie, you have a Lissandra, and that is a deadly combo. Just think of the AoE that you can really put down. You pop in Lissandra's ultimate, follow up with the Tibbers, if you can hit multiple people, Cataclysm as well, the spray and pray coming across them, and they have a really good composition for blowing up Lion right now.
And we'll see as well if this Annie will actually be in that mid lane, whether it'll be a support as well, because we have been seeing a lot more support coming out of Annie. But Heavens is a man who likes to run strange things, at least what we would maybe consider strange on the competitive scene. In the first game of their qualifier final, he actually ran a Swain in the mid lane.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not scared of bringing out those kind of champions. On the other side, looks like we're going to have a Nasus jungle here for Lion. And an AP, or I say an AP Ezreal, but an Ezreal for that mid lane, whether he goes full AP, which he has done in the past, Yuri, or whether he goes that more, I'd say traditional right now, blue build Ezreal for the extra stuff there.
I definitely think you're right on that one, because we've seen a lot of teams, actually we've been told by all the LCS teams that they kind of take exactly what Korea does and try to use it themselves, and we've seen Ezreal kind of prosper there lately, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that he actually played it in one of the games coming into this. And then the Nasus, so you're going to have that potential for a very early Dragon with him when he hits level 6. You also have pretty good tankiness with him, but you don't have a lot of synergy within their composition I'm seeing right now. I mean, yeah, you have the Zac, you have the Crescendo, the follow-up, but that's just about it. And when you have a double 80 composition, if you don't have a good early game, if you don't have a strong early game, then you kind of really get set behind, since you're forced to channel all this farm into 2 different champions.
Wow. Right now, are we actually going to see the Syndra come out from this one? Which would say to us that then Syndra mid lane, the Annie support, Lissandra top, or maybe the Syndra in the top lane as well. We'll find that out here in just a second as they switch things up, but wasn't quite expecting the Syndra pick at this stage with Lissandra and an Annie already in there.
Well, just think about back to the spring split with Bjergsen finally coming in, plays Syndra, gets a pentakill. So their whole composition right now, I would be scared to be Lion. Let's just say that, because of the burst they have. Lissandra is going to keep you there. You have the Syndra stun, which you can hit on an entire team if you're good enough. You have the burst out of him. You have the burst out of Annie, which still has some pretty good damage. Not to mention the control. That is a really scary team. And if Lion doesn't have a strong start, they're not going to be tanking up to really survive this damage later on.
Well, we're going to be getting into game, and I have to say that I prefer Immunity's lineup here. Overall, the damage, the control that they're going to have with that. I mean, you're just looking, like you said, the AoE stuns from Syndra, from Annie. Lissandra can obviously focus one down to a big AoE damage burst. Then you've got the Cataclysm, which you can kind of pick and choose where you want to go in from that one. It's going to be really, or it should be really effective. What we should also say is that it also needs a good amount of coordination here from Immunity.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what a lot of Korean teams have been known for, is that teamfight synergy, the ability to get off all these abilities at the same time and when you need to. But, oh man, so you have so many high priority targets that Lion has to focus down. And the big key thing to me is you have a Twitch, who you won't even be able to get to through the amount of control that Immunity has. So he's going to be just sitting there attacking away, and if he has a decent early game, a decent laning phase, his damage is going to be ridiculous. And Lion, they have a lot of work cut out for him, and the thing is, it's not like you can prepare an insane amount for these teams. Like, you don't have all the research available to really see what they're going to play and what they're going to hit you with. So it's kind of about playing something you're comfortable with, which I think Lion definitely went with, and as well as Immunity, because I mean, obviously we haven't seen too much of the Oceania region.
Yeah, and that's a real good point that you make up, the whole research thing, that it's hard for these teams, outside of the few VODs that are available, and, you know, checking out their summoner profiles and what have you, to really lock down what's going to be played. But now we know it. We know which teams, or which champions both these teams are coming in with, and we are going to get underway with Lion versus Immunity, our first game over on Stream Beat from the International Wildcard Tournament. And let's talk a little bit about level 1 here, Jason.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it, because right now, Rosie, he actually took his W first as Incinerate because he wants to have that stun available. So if we see any aggression out of them level 1, they're going to just walk through Lion, even though they're, you know, semi-tanky. But it looks like right now both teams are just playing it really safe. And remember, they have multiple games to play today. All 5 teams are going to play each other once.
So here's one thing from Immunity that you could have predicted, because they did this in game 1 of their qualifier grand finals, all stacked up on the bottom side as the red side to invade through the tri-bush. This is exactly the same start. They actually picked up a first blood in that one. But right now, there are no wards on the bottom side of the map coming out for Lion. So this could actually turn out to be really, really dangerous for them as Immunity start to work their way up towards that red buff, checking with wards over towards the corner brush and with the flag towards the other side, so they know pretty much that they're safe right now.
And they're actually sticking around for a while. At least they warded up that red, so maybe they're expecting someone online to come in through there, and they're willing to burst them down because they easily have that potential. But look how many wards were invested into this invade. You see 3 down, where Immunity was just spotted crossing back to their side of the jungle, so hopefully Lion does know something's up right there, and they're going to be really careful at that point. But both teams, they're just, I mean, we still see even Sona right now, Nerzo just sitting around at blue buff, and it looks like they're actually going to send Vayne, Sona middle, and Edgel solo lane here.
Yeah, I'm wondering, with Immunity actually having 4 many doing blue, I'm wondering if they're going to try for a quick swipe on that red buff on the bottom side. They've got good vision down there. Whether they'll try and control all 3 buffs right now remains to be seen. Obviously, Hacker on that Nasus on the other side for Lion Gaming. We'll see if he does or decides to go the same. And actually looks like he will. However, Jarvan and Elysia, of course, for Immunity, go in the other side.
And actually, yeah, that invade is coming out right now with Hacker, and he's not going to actually spot Elysia just yet. I think he did just see him middle, so we know he's coming, but he should be able to take that quick enough. He has that smite available, and this would be huge for them, as Elysia is actually going to come in. He's going to know it's happening. But no fight's going to break out just yet.
Yeah, red buff too low there for either player to smite that one up, but there is the steal. Hacker going to be able to pick that one up. Let's see if he can actually lock down Elysia from this one. In the end, they just have a bit of a battle there over the small creeps in the camp and decide to back away. But as you said, this mid lane, a 2v1 right now, but look at that. That's the danger, the stun coming out of Syndra, and now we have Annie coming in. Got that stun built up. There is Jarvan moving around as well, and in the end, Immunity decide to disengage, not got enough in terms of positioning for that fight.
I love seeing this right now out of Rosie, because he knows bottom lane they're fine. It's going to be 1v1 as AD carry, so he's actually going to roam around a bit and make sure that Heavens can have a decent laning phase, because it's guaranteed that their Twitch is going to be fine. And with that stun, paired in with Syndra stun, paired in with Jarvan just ganking, which right now Nerzo doesn't have a flash, they easily can pick up a kill.
There is a flash coming out though from Annie. There's the knock-up as well. This could be first blood. It will be first blood. It's Heavens that picked it up there on the Syndra, and that was in that 2v1 lane. Immunity investing a lot to keep it protected, and they've even picked up the first blood as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And it went over to Heavens, which is really important because, well, it's actually really important just for him to get a kill, period, but now he's up greatly in CS.
Yeah. Going to get snowballing away from that one, and this red buff going to be picked up here by Immunity. There's absolutely nothing that Lion can do with that one. They all need that Nasus there to really do anything about it. Hacker actually just passing through there, so they've seen Hacker. They know that he's going to be on this bottom side of the map, which means Twitch should be able to react a lot quicker if anything were to go on down there. Top lane has been the quietest of them all so far. We've really seen nothing up there in terms of action. And it was Adoran's shield start coming out for Porky. Plenty of tankiness for him at the start. Alessandro going in for that crystalline flask.
We actually just saw this matchup last week in the playoffs. I can't remember exactly who the 2 teams were, but it was actually Zach just pushing the lane as much as possible, forcing Alessandro last hit on turret. But right now we see the gank happening bottom, but it's a Twitch. You can't really gank a Twitch when he has stealth, you don't have ping board.
Yeah, it actually was stealth up, but came out of that stealth just as that one all kicked off. Right now, Lion actually pushing the mid lane up as much as they can, and that means that Alicia has to come around to really help defend that one, as Rosie gonna spot Hacker V2 inside of the brush there. They know that he's there. The stun built up as well, and he needs to be careful. Only level 3 to the level 4 of Twitch. He could take him down really quickly. In the end, I think a good decision from Hacker overall, just to back off.
Yeah, it definitely smart. And right now what we're seeing is because of Lion being so aggressive middle, having Bane Sona there, it puts pressure on that lane. So Heavens, he has to have help. He can't wave clear quick enough to pretty much shove that lane back out. And that puts pressure on Immunity in terms of, are we going to see Alicia gank anywhere else? And with him constantly being middle, he knows, or the rest of Lion knows that they're going to be fine if they want to push out right now. And Rosie, he's going to have to gank a little bit maybe to kind of apply that pressure. And he knows Sona's flash is still down. They could go for another kill on Ner'zhul, but he's still sticking around bottom because the downside to Romanus as a support, you fall behind in levels, and Annie, you're going to need that level 6 to really be impactful for these fights.
Yeah, he wants to get up there as fast as possible. As pressure continuing here on this mid lane turret. And good work from it so far coming out of Lion, as Heaven's actually going to push forward here. Not quite able to get in a position to do the damage that he wanted to. And that's the beauty of the Vayne, you know, the tumble can avoid a lot of Syndra's damage.
Yeah, yes, it definitely can. The thing is, they gave Lane this lane because they wanted to have a very easy laning phase for him. Make sure you get that farm, then you'd be really hurtful or as the game goes on. But right now, if you look at CS, he's beating his counter-opponent, Raider in CS, but you see right now, Yuri's actually losing out to Heavens, even though Heavens has been in this 1v2 and mostly Yuri's been in a 1v1.
Yeah, that's probably not the best sign overall. Top lane, again, not really too much going on there with that tankiness coming out of Zac, as we see here on his screen. Alicia just coming over. There's the knock-up there. A ward came right down onto Ner'zhul's head, and he's actually gone to the top side here. That flash still not available, but there is Nasus moving in as well. Vayne doing good damage there on towards Syndra, but Heavens will flash away to safety, and that one ward could have cost Ner'zhul his life. In the end, it was a good reaction overall from Lion to keep him safe.
And Seiya coming up big right there. That condemn onto Rosie actually stopped the kill from going down because Ner'zhul didn't have that flash to get away. Fantastic job of them to pretty much turn that around, and that's what we're just talking about. Rosie's going to come around ganking. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes Boots Mobility as his first big buy, which currently he's kind of going for. And yep, able to escape that. We will have Ner'zhul with his flash available now, so the pressure isn't as bad anymore in this middle lane. However, Syndra's now level 6. This could be a big healing point for him because Jarvan's coming in yet again.
That's where it gets really dangerous. The incredible amount of bursts that can come out from this Syndra. Got the Dawn's Ring and a tier stacked up here already, and looking for a way in from this one. Yuri actually just going to get a ward down by Dragon. They want to make sure that they keep control of that one, especially the fact that they've got that Nasus in there allows them that possibility to go in for a somewhat earlier Dragon than usual.
And because they're feeding the blue buff over to Hacker, he easily has an opportunity. He'll be level 6 really soon. And right now, I mean, if Rosie does go these Boots of Mobility, and you have a Twitch on your team, you can have 4 people show up in that middle lane in a split second. But right now, Red Buff's going to be taken away, or attempted to be taken away, but right now, Immunity's responded to this quite well.
Yeah, Heaven's actually coming across from this one. There's the knock-up coming down on towards Hacker, but the focus will be Vayne. Seiya going very, very low. He's going to be finished off here. Killer piece, so as Yuri sniped across with the True Shot barrage. Heaven's having to get himself away, but here comes Lissandra, and that is surely a dead Sona. It will be a dead Sona. Swiper will pick that one up, and that should signal the back here from Immunity as they pick up another 2 for 1.
And we haven't even seen that huge team fight really break out for Immunity, and yet they're still putting out this much damage, this much control. And right now, Seiya, he doesn't even have Cleanse, which I was really confused about not seeing against a team like this. You need that sort of out. So that means he's gonna have to, or after his first big buy, he's gonna have to go for Blade of the Rune King, which currently, or he's not going for Blade of the Rune King, which is a little bit weird. So he needs that QSS even earlier.
Yeah, I think so as well. That QSS without the cleanse is going to be vital for him. We saw it then how he can be locked down by, well, one of many champions in this Immunity team, and that's the real problem, that it's not just one person that you can say, keep them away from me and we should be all good. It's pretty much everyone that's going to be able to control you on that front. Let's have a look at the 2 AD carries then. Obviously, Vayne going down. In that time, Radiant actually just completely farming up in this bottom lane. He's got about a 10 CS lead. Vamp, Scepter, Doran's Blade, and Boots are his starting items.
Yeah, and I'm really kind of surprised to see that Seiya, he's... Well, you don't really need to level Silver Bolts against a team like this, your W, because they're so squishy already. So if he goes for a Bloodthirster or an Eye Edge, can actually burst it down very quickly, but still, you need that escape mechanism. You need that sustain in this lane particularly. And right now, Heavens is doing a phenomenal job in terms of not falling behind in CS.
Oh, there was a Wither in the bottom lane. True Shot Barrage coming through on towards Rosie. Nice Q coming out as well there from Yuri. And he's done a good job of actually following up there with damage, with really just the presence of Hacker and that Wither to keep that Annie slowed down. But no kill coming back. And right now it's a 1,500 gold lead for Immunity, but this is something that can change that.
This is dangerous right now. But Rosie, he is low on health, so he's going to have to back out, or they might have to get this one up, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Now the stun actually came down onto Saya there, and we are going to see the Dragon being finished off by Hacker. He's going to flash away, but there's Cataclysm. Heavens coming in from the side. Nazel now the next target. Look at how low Jarvan is from that. He will be able to back away. This is a kill coming down for Heavens as well. Crescendo used very, very late on in that one, and it looks like they won't give chase from this, and that will be a 2-for-1 again here for Immunity.
And that was actually, it works out actually for Lion in the end, because they were able to pick up that Dragon, and that's kind of exactly what they needed to do, because they're falling behind very far. That top lane, behind in CS, middle lane, behind in CS. Luckily, their bottom lane isn't too bad since it's 80 to 82 in terms of CS, but like we said before, they need to have a strong start if they want to be able to survive the burst that Immunity can put out, and Immunity's been doing a phenomenal job of picking up kills throughout this game so far.
And Heavens now 3-0-1. That is the start that you want with this Syndra. You want to get things going as early as you possibly can. It's Yuri there taking a bit more damage than he bargained for, tower hits included, but a long time, 11 minutes and 15 seconds, let's call it now, that Lion have actually had that duo lane in the middle, and they've still not been able to push that middle tower out.
Yeah, and I think that's just due to the fact that Alicia and Rosie have been roaming around middle and really couldn't defend it, but right now, Saya getting low.
Oh, he's going to get knocked up here. The question is, can Twitch actually finish things off? Spray and Pray diving through, and there is the Expunge to finish off. Great kill picked up almost for free there. There was no reply whatsoever from Lion, and Immunity going to set about this tower. It'd be funny if they managed to take this down before Lion got that one after that 2v1 as well.
Exactly, just as you were saying, it looks like they should be able to pick this one up here. Rosie, he is level 6, he does have a stun available, and this is the point for Lion. They have to be very careful. Like, they cannot afford to be engaged upon. They have to be able to lock down Rosie, Heavens, and Swiper at the same time when we come to these team fights, and all you really have is that Crescendo to do that.
They're going to try and get in from the side here. They're actually stood on top of a ward, so pretty much the entire position of Immunity was spotted. I think he just smited away the big Wraith there, did Alicia, so nice little pickup for him. Red buff available on Lion's side of the map, and therefore Hacker V2 actually headed down to make sure that they secure that one. The last one was stolen away by Immunity. And they currently sit at 62 up in kills. Still no turrets actually gone down in this game after 12.5 minutes.
I'm kind of surprised a little bit by that, considering how much action we've seen around the map, but we do see a tier coming in for Yuri, so we're going to have that blue build Ezreal. But the downside to building a tier before you have any other major item completed is you're not going to do much damage. You just invested all that gold for no increase of damage, just sustain as the game goes on. And obviously he needs to stack it as quick as possible, but in his lane, when we just saw Ray Dare completely shut down Saya, he has the ability to do that too, even in Ezreal right now.
Another thing that's going to be dangerous coming in, Swiper, he's got that Seeker's Anger, going to be moving up towards the Zhonya's Hourglass, which just makes Lissandra so much harder to kill. It makes anyone harder to kill, of course, but just the way that Lissandra works well, almost got 2 Zhonyas then coming straight out with the ultimate as well. Right now, Immunity putting down some heavy pressure on this outer turret in the middle lane. Will they be able to finish off? Not quite there. Lion still managing to hold them off this one. It's a 4-man defense currently. Ezreal down in that bottom lane, as is True Shot Barrage if he wants to add that into any fight that may kick off. But I still feel that with the lead that Immunity have, Lion can't really afford to fight, especially in a team fight. They need picks right now.
I think Immunity can easily take this turret and get a couple of kills here, because this is the mid game pretty much. This is their time to shine with this double AP composition. Well, 2.5 if you throw in the Annie as well, but this is their time to go for these kills, and yet they're still being really hesitant right now, but it looks like bot turret will be the first turret, surprisingly, of the game going down.
Yeah, after all the damage here in middle, looks like it will be that bottom turret. There's a couple of minutes still left in there. Now they're going to tank it up. There we go. First turret of the game goes down in favor of Immunity. 14 minutes into it, but that really extends their gold lead to 2,500 now. A strong lead in less than 20 minutes of the game gone down. Hacker going to be taking his own blue buff here, and that's something that they've gone for this entire game, to give that Nasus the blue.
And it would have worked out a little bit better if Alicia wasn't sitting mid lane as often, because look at the farm difference, 56 to 38, which as a Nasus you need to farm as much as possible, but Alicia's kind of sidetracked that by just sitting middle, gaining the experience, just soaking it up, even though he won't have as much gold. But he is 1-0-5, so he is able to do that, and it looks like Hacker's going to go in for a gank on this top lane. Or not.
Or not. Walk straight away from that one. Happens sometimes. And he's actually headed down towards middle, because we can see that Heavens is fairly heavily pushed up from this one. He does have a flash available. Are they going to go for him? No, deciding against that one. And to be honest, if they can at least force him from lane at this point, he might be able to get a kill. As we are going to see Porky and Swiper here going head-to-head in this top lane. But again, damage from Zach's not really there. On the other hand, he's also got that Spirit Visage in, which means that Lissandra probably can't burst him down either.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. It's kind of just like a big farming lane for them right now, and currently Swiper is winning that one out, but Rosie's still roaming around quite a bit, going to be warding up. He doesn't actually have his Sightstone done yet. He doesn't have a GP10 done yet. When we see on the other side, Nerzel does have his GP10 finally, but that's really going to hurt him because he's trying to rush so many different items, those boots mobility, the Sightstone, and yet he hasn't been able to pick up as much kills as I think he hoped to.
So we got 30 seconds coming here for the Dragon, as we see True Shot Barrage headed up towards top lane. Didn't really offer too much, and with Dragon coming up here in just 20 seconds, okay, True Shot Barrage not the biggest cooldown, that's for sure, in the game, but still would have been something to add in case a fight were to happen from this. We're going to have pretty much everyone on this bottom side for immunity as well. They, I guess, want to push this middle lane out to stop any counter push on that middle outer turret and then head down towards the Dragon.
And we do have a pink ward on Rosie this time, so they're going to be able to clear any of that vision. It does go down. Currently, there's no vision right now for Lion. They do finally put that ward over the corner. And remember, Lion has the ability to engage from very far with the Zac, but they're just giving it away. They realize they cannot contest this.
Can't contest, and that means a further gold lead here for immunity. What are they going to do with this one right now? They've taken down the bottom and middle outer turrets. That top lane obviously then would be a juicy target, but I feel like there's going to have to be a bit more defensive play from immunity if they want to keep their outer mid turret up here as a bit of a priority.
Yeah, they definitely can't force that top lane down, or they will lose their middle turret. And the thing is, Lion will have the ability to keep pushing if they want to, because they do have Nasus. He's a very strong lane pusher, very strong turret taker. That makes that's so weird to say, but like for me, immunity should be team fighting right now. 17 minutes in, they have a strong gold lead. They almost have these major items completed, which I think when we see that DFG finally come in for Heavens and we see the Zonias come in for Swiper, that's going to be the moment for them to fight. Yeah. Right now, Lion, they have to kind of hopefully stall for that. I mean, they're building the tankiest they need right now. They have that Spirit Visage, like you mentioned before, on Porky, so people to survive quite a bit of damage, but they don't have any damage on their side in terms of Yuri. He doesn't have anything really built up just yet, and say that he's still working towards that Bloodthirster.
Yeah, Bloodthirster almost completed. We see Rosie there spotting Hacker. V2 headed down towards this bottom side, and that could turn out to be trouble. In the end, I think he's realized that he's not alone there with that Twitch right on top of him, but Twitch doesn't want a piece either. He just walks on through, all stealth up, because the red buff is available, and that is going to be taken away by immunity. And we already see them trying to starve the Lions, you know, from this one, and really taking away everything that they possibly can from that jungle.
Yeah, and look at the ward coverage they have down. It kind of shows that they want to force this bottom lane, force some action towards the bottom side of the map because of this control. And Nerzel, he doesn't have an Oracle just yet. He'll be able to afford one a lot earlier than Rosie will, just because of this GP10 that he's been able to have taken away. And honestly, they're going to need that, because if they get caught in their own jungle, if they don't have wards down their own jungle to spot where immunity is going, they're going to blow up. They're going to die, and they cannot afford that at 18 minutes in.
We can see across the board in terms of CS as well, you see a nice lead for immunity. You check the 280 carries, decent lead there, 25 CS for the Twitch. Mid lane, again, Syndra over Yuri's Ezreal by quite a margin. Top lane is a 50 CS lead for Swiper there, as we see a flash away from Ezreal, and that's inside of his own jungle right there.
And I think immunity's inside his head too, because it was just Rosie. I mean, yeah, we did see Raider coming in from the side, but he was still very far away, and Yuri didn't know that. So that flash being down, that means it's going to be way easier for Rosie to kind of get the stun onto him and be able to pick him up. And you can see Alicia, he's going down towards bottom, but still, I mean, it's a slower game, but you can realize why. I mean, look at what's at stake. Going to World Finals, being one of the teams, or one of the 5 teams here to finally go and compete against the best of the best, and they have a lot of matches to play, so there's no point in really kind of going for anything crazy when you need to pick up some wins early on.
And we should mention as well that we are playing a round-robin format. Demon and Jack actually DMAT. That's their new name. Demon and Jack actually explained that earlier on, that each team will play each other in that group because we have 5 teams in there, and from there the top teams will obviously move on through in towards the playoffs. So it's not just one game and you're out in this scenario, but it certainly makes it a lot harder if you don't start off the round-robin stage as strongly as you should.
Yeah, and actually I'm curious how many of them have coaches here today, because they don't want to show every strategy that they can. They don't want to give away anything because they have so many more matches to play, and the coaches have that ability to really scout that out. But here we go. Looks like Immunity's going to go in for engage here, as they do get the flash.
Yeah, flash actually, and there's a good Cataclysm down, but can they actually get in position from this one? They're a little bit all over the place right now, Immunity. Saw the claw coming out there from Lissandra as well, but they were unable to really lock anyone down, and that's a Cataclysm down, which is a big thing for me for Immunity, you know. That's okay, they've got these stuns from the likes of Annie, Syndra, and Lissandra, but the Cataclysm is what's going to hold them down for a longer period of time once those stuns go in there. So now with Tibbers now coming up, they may feel that, okay, that's good enough compensation for not having Cataclysm, and try and do some pushing as well.
But something Lion did there actually gave me some hope for them as this game goes on, is the fact that they disengaged very quickly. They were able to escape that combo that was going to come out of Immunity, and that's what they're going to need to keep doing consistently if they want to be able to win these team fights. They can't really afford to go head-on-head or head-to-head, and right now Immunity has like some big items. They have that Zhonya's done, they have the DFG done, they have that Blade of the Rune King done. So Immunity, it's up to them. Do they want to start forcing some fights, or do they want to give Lion that ability to really farm up and get some damage under their belts?
Well, only 2 teams that know the answer to that, and sadly we're not including them, so we're going to have to find that one out in these coming moments. See there, a good amount of gold actually for Yuri to spend. Obviously the only non-Mexican on the Lion team, although he does live in Mexico, so we kind of half-half, let's
so
say that.
Am I half German?
Yeah, technically you are, since you lived here for long enough. Right now is this Swiper there just having a bit of a go at that top turret, but couldn't quite get it down. But now that Rosie's coming in, and in fact the whole Immunity team's coming in, Porky's going to have to back away from this one. Tariq goes down, he's going to try and slingshot away, but he gets stunned up there in midair. Knockup actually will miss, but the rest of the CC has landed nicely. I'm not sure that he'll escape from this one. Actually will flash away. Oh, the minions there taking him with the last hit. The Ignite was down, and well, the Cell Division passive not going to be enough to keep him alive here. Swipe will finish that off, but Liner actually headed up the mid lane.
I just saw something so funny there. Syndra used Zac to kill himself. Picked up the globule, threw it at himself to kill him. That was hilarious, but that was a great reaction of Porky to be able to escape, and a great reaction out of Lion overall, because they're getting 2 free turrets off of this, and they'll be back in time to defend that top lane. So fantastic job by Lion.
Yeah, in terms of how reactions go, wow, that's a lot of pressure down onto Vayne in this bottom lane. Not quite got the damage just yet, the Twitch to finish that one off, but we see then that the Dragon has come up, and because of that positional advantage that Lion actually gained from that little push, taking the 2 middle turrets, they're actually going to back down and be able to pick up a Dragon as well, which is, you know, in terms of losing Zac for 2 middle turrets and a Dragon, Porky actually did a really great job there of getting caught, so to speak, but lasting so long in the meantime.
And the thing is, Lions, they're playing the objective game. They're not playing the kill game or the farm game or something like that. They're trying to just push wherever they can. Gain 2 turrets, they get so much advantage around the map, but right now Porky might get caught again.
Yeah, he may very well do that as he gets stunned up here once again, and look at the CC coming out there. Literally cannot move, and that is the problem that you have against a CC heavy team here. And now Immunity trying to work down an inner turret of their own, as we are going to see both Vayne and Nasus trying to ward them off from that one. That will seemingly, for now at least, until this next minion wave comes through, work out.
Yeah, and that's why Lion cannot afford to give up their vision around their own jungle right now. I mean, yeah, they took those 2 middle turrets, but they're not pushing across the map, so it doesn't really give them too much of an advantage right now. And Immunity going to take that turret, so pretty much they take 2 turrets back for the 2 they just lost, and I think Rosie doesn't have an Oracle on him. No, he doesn't, so they're not going to be able to maintain control of this jungle if Nerzo does get the opportunity to finally leave his base here. But you can tell, like, look how scared they are to kind of leave their base and kind of go anywhere around the map.
And rightly so, because it only needs one wrong decision as to which bush you're actually going to look into. Not a bus, I'm not sure why there'd be a bus anywhere near Summoner's Rift, but you know, any bush that you face it, we just saw it there from Porky, and he's the tankiest man on the team right now. He walks in there and he's stunned for about 3.5 days until he dies.
And the thing is, the CC they have, they can do that to multiple people at the same time. It's not just one. Like, yeah, all the CC people on Porky, if it's only him, it's like, all right, that's not bad. They blew everything on me, the rest of my team will be fine. But they have AoE CC across the board, so it's only going to get worse for Lion if they do group up, if they do funnel into that very tight area. Right now, he's top lane, he's trying to farm up, and yet he's still behind Radar and CS.
Yeah, that's not a good sign whatsoever, as Heaven's going to be getting his blue buff here, so he's going to be putting so much more damage down here, so much more often. And he's also 4-0-2. We probably shouldn't count that out at this stage with that DFG in there. Archangel staff again is actually, he's down on this bottom lane, has used his DFG here against Hacker. The Wither gonna bring him to a pretty much standstill, but he's gonna keep chasing on from this one. Flash comes through. Can he actually get in there? No, he realizes that Flash pretty much for nothing at that stage, but you saw there, that's Nasus with a locket in there as well, and he almost died. That is a horrible sign for Lion.
Yeah, if there was anyone else there from Immunity, he definitely would have died. And saw Heavens, that flash that came out of him, he tried to get his stun combo onto him to pick him off, but he just unfortunately missed it. And Radar now, he's not done.
Well, he's not done. There's a flash there from Hacker, actually. We did see the Blade of the Ruin King active being used. And he's like, well, I'll just take Vayne then if I can't get Nasus. A lot of damage done to the both of them. Heaven's not quite quick enough to actually get in there for that either.
And this like roaming around gang squad that they have happening right now with this whole Heavens, Radar, Twitch, Sintra combo, you can see that Lion, they're scared of it. They don't want to go up against it. And right now, Immunity, they're taking everything they possibly can. They've been all over that red buff from Lion throughout this entire game. Actually, I don't think even Lion picked up one just yet. And now they're starting to take control of this blue buff, which is going to be really important for Yuri as he's going to need that extra cooldown reduction and that extra mana regen with this blue build, which currently went for an Iceborne Gauntlets, but he just finished his mirror mana out of a tier. So his damage just got completely amped up.
Yeah, it's completely starving Lion from anything in the past, but David Attenborough has taught me anything over the years, Jason. It's that a starving Lion is very, very aggressive. So we'll have to see if they, follow,
your time in the
follow
Safari,
that nature trend. We'll bring some nature into this as well as we go through. It's definitely going to be hard for them. They're 5,500 behind right now when it comes to the gold totals, and we've seen that multiple targets can be stunned at the same time. If things go well for Immunity in a team fight, it's likely that they'll just roll over things. Lion need to be picking off single targets right now to have a chance to come back into this, then trying to push Immunity back so that they can gain some control back of the map.
Yeah, and they're definitely gonna have to use that Oracle to finally get that ability to, but he has a Sightstone done, he has a Phoenix Codex done, so he's going for extra cooldown reduction. And since he wasn't able to roam around as much as he would have liked to, I guess, in the beginning, he didn't bother with those boots and ability just yet. But with the vision they have, like with the control they have of this game, Baron can become a very likely possibility, since Lion will have to face check pretty much all these bushes since they don't have anything down just yet. And Immunity, I want to know, are they going to take advantage of that?
Well, the good thing for Lion is that they've actually gone there pretty early on to be able to clear at least their side of the jungle out right now. When it comes to that Baron area, there is Nezzle taking a blast from Heavens. Is Porky actually going to jump in? He is going to jump over the top here, but I think he's put himself a little bit out of position from that one. And you see his tankiness, although it's there, it doesn't really bring him that much because of the damage that Immunity are able to put out at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he can jump in, but can he survive the damage that's coming out against him? And probably not at this point, especially with that DFG mixed in, because it amplifies Lissandra's damage, it amplifies Annie's damage at the same time, and that means they can burst down the tankiest person very easily. And right now, look at this ward coverage that Immunity has, but luckily for them, luckily for Lion, there is a ward down to spot them there, so they could have potentially face-checked that, and that honestly could have been game because that could have been Baron.
Yeah, but I don't understand there why Seiya now has shown himself in this bottom lane. They know that the Vayne's not actually anywhere near them right now, and Baron is approaching half HP already. Immunity backing away as the True Shot barrage comes down, and, well, I think they could have possibly finished off there with that Vayne so far away from things. And a 4 versus 5 fight, I'd almost give it to them 100% of the time from this. But deciding against it, playing safe, we know that Baron can be a trap when it comes to that kind of thing. So they decide to completely back away from that.
Yeah, and I honestly really respect what Immunity did because they backed away. And we've seen so many teams throw it on Baron just because they try to go for it and they get engaged upon. And with that whole thing, with backing away from Baron, it kind of shows that Immunity, they feel confident enough to win the game without it. I mean, yeah, they could force a fight, but they're already low in health because of that, because they only have one tank right now, and that's Elysia.
Well, they could be out-positioned here, Lion. We are seeing Immunity moving straight down this middle lane. Both Sona, Vayne, and someone else who was down there actually backing away from it. Nasus it was that was in the tri-bush with them. So they backed away to try and keep a defense up on this inhibitor turret. And honestly, that top inner turret right now is just screaming to be taken down from Immunity. Wave's pushing against it as well.
And they still don't have an Oracle, though. Rosie, he hasn't picked one up. He keeps investing into these pink wards, which, with how many he's put down already, probably could have had an Oracle very easily. And they need to make sure they get control of this jungle, because once they do that, they limit the farm that Lion can pick up, and it gives them the opportunity to, show themselves middle, and then quickly just go top it and take a free turret.
So, Lion just backing out of their base a little bit here. Or getting out of their base, I should really say. It's not so often that we've seen him get in there as Nerzel. Going to get knocked up by Alicia, but he could be dangerous. He's actually going to put the Cataclysm down. Here comes the CC train, and the first kill's dropping. Lion going to get a second. It's a double kill coming out for Heaven, but they're all falling pretty low from this one. Lion still getting stunned up a second, third time. The Rat coming in from the backside as well. In the end, it's a triple kill for Heavens before he goes down. Well, they've picked up 4 for 1, a brilliant trade for Immunity.
And Alicia, the man to engage that when he was already seen, survives with very little HP, but in the meantime, Lion, they're going to actually lose an inhibitor turret here, and it looks like Immunity should be able to pick up inhibitor off the back of that, and you just saw the damage that Immunity can put out, and right now, no one online has a QSS to stop this, which the 80 carries, they need it. They need to be able to sit there and do free damage. As you saw, Seiya got completely locked up by that Lissandra ultimate and did nothing for that fight.
So backing away now are Immunity. And, well, they're going to buy. I'm guessing that they've actually got a good amount of gold to be spending here on that way back. And we can see the ones that haven't quite got there yet. 1,800 for Lissandra was a good chunk as well for Twitch, who's now picked up a last Whisper to add into the Phantom Dancer and the Blade of the Ruin King. Lissandra almost got that Rabadon's Death Cap finished off here as well. We just saw Yuri somehow saving that turret in that inner turret in the top lane there. Had literally no HP left on it.
And right now, Immunity, they're just getting so far ahead in these items, and it's really going to become even harder for Lion to really do anything where 2 Zhonyas, so now the AP carries cannot be bursted down. They cannot be killed as long as they're quick enough in hitting that Zhonya. So the only person you really have that you can potentially kill is Rosie and Rayder, which with their positioning, with the range that Rayder has with that spray and pray, with the initiate that Rosie has with the CC, it's really going to be hard to kill anyone. But they do have an Oracle now, so Baron is a very likely possibility, especially with that inhibitor being down.
And they've cleared out, and they're actually going to back away from this one. Currently, Lion are waiting here in this mid lane. Is Alicia going to get involved? He is starting to move his way in there, but they decide not to chase through. But they've actually got positioning now on this middle lane. Lion are actually going to have to go around the side from this one. They've completely got the jump on them from this. They're going to be able to force this mid lane right up towards those Nexus turrets and then move on to the top lane.
Yeah, looks like they're able to pick up that turret as well, or hopefully they'll be able to, because since they have the ability to take it right now. And Lion, they're just kind of getting caught out of position. They don't have a lot of wards down their own jungle, which you can kind of expect. They haven't really been able to leave their base too often here. But now they're going to be forced into a fight that they probably don't want. Like, they cannot defend this top inner turret. The top inhibitor turret is the real point. Like, they have to defend that. They cannot afford to let that one go, because with 2 inhibitors being down, the chances of coming back from that are very, very unlikely.
So, can they hold on to this one? Minion wave coming in from it as well. Already taking a lot of damage. True Shot Barrage will actually wipe out most of the wave there as well. And as such, Immunity deciding, okay, let's just back away from that one. Wait for this next wave to come right in there. And maybe we've got a chance. I mean, even under the turrets right now, with those 2 Zhonyas, with the fact that Lissandra can disable the damage onto herself a second time if she so wishes with that ultimate, they can dive under turrets so easily at this point.
And yet they're still really hesitant to, because they want to make sure to not throw this game. They want to be able to hold on to as long as possible and come out with the win. And Lion, they did a fantastic job pushing that middle lane out as far as possible so they would be able to defend it. But with Baron being taken right now, they can't really stop that. They have no wards to see it happening. And they're just going to continue to farm away here. And now it's 12-3, 34 minutes in, and Immunity has the biggest lead they've had all game.
Yeah, easy pick up there for Immunity. Obviously, Lion, they just can't challenge for that kind of thing right now. And the thing that Immunity have done well is not getting caught, as we are going to see Haka. Is he going to get engaged on? No. The claw bringing the Lissandra over the wall. And that's the danger. You don't often see a Lissandra coming before she actually just jumps on top of you and destroys you before you can even blink. But here we go. Push coming in on towards that turret. Or not. Minion wave wiped out once again by Lion. But I think it's only a matter of time. Even the damage that they can put back onto them with the likes of that air drilled poke there, they're going to regen fast enough with the Baron to be able to keep pushing until they get what they want.
Luckily for Lion, though, that Yuri does have the blue buff, so they'll be able to harass as much as possible to kind of keep them away from that turret. But I think Immunity, I think they're like, all right, well, you know what? We have a wave pushing middle with the super minions. The turret's very low. We can just afford to engage upon you, and this might actually happen very soon.
That turret is super low here. There's Twitch. He's like, I'm just going to pray and spray straight through for... Or spray and pray as well. That's another thing that he could do if he so wished. The inhibitor itself will be going down as well. Nothing that Lion can do about this one. They've got super minions coming into the base as well now, but it looks like Immunity really want to go, you know, the whole way tutorial style and take down every single turret, force that, you know, 3 lanes of massive pressure from the super minions and then go through.
What a scumbag. You saw Alicia actually aggro the wolves when Swiper's backing right next to him. Then he just ran away to let the wolves hit him so he couldn't back. That was really funny. But anyway, so they do have an Oracle though, Lion. Nerysl does have that available, but it's kind of useless at this point. I mean, because yeah, you can clear out wards, but where are you going to go when you have 2 waves or 2 lanes of super minions pushing up against you? You can't really leave your base ever. So right now, Lion, they're doing as best as possible to kind of push these waves out to kind of delay the time that Immunity does come in with, because as long as they maybe wait for that Baron to run out and Lion engages off the back of that, they could win a fight. But Immunity, they should be able to disengage or hopefully be able to CC them down with the amount of control, with the amount of damage they have. And with Alicia getting so tanky right now, I'm not sure Lion can kill him with, you know, if they all focused him before the rest of the team dies.
Yeah, I really like that from Yuri, the decision to push that bottom wave as far out as he possibly could without obviously the chance of him being caught out for it, so that it's going to delay Immunity's push onto this bottom lane. But honestly, not really delayed it all that long. They come straight down to this bottom lane. They've got a wave of minions pushing through in for that one. And they either fight here, Lion, or I feel like giving up a 3rd inhibitor turret plus inhibitor is the end, almost.
Exactly, and right now, Immunity, they're going to go for this free inhibitor here, and I think this is the point. They have to fight here. If they let this one drop, the 3rd one's easily going to go, and there's really no coming back from that. And right now, you see Nerysl getting bursted.
Yeah, and that's Syndra for you. Nothing that they could actually do. Couldn't get out of position once that happened. Just trying to get the vision over the top of the wall, and that will be the inhibitor in the mid lane going down. Super minions are already in this top side. We're actually going to see the bottom inhibitor turret going down without any kind of fight here coming out from Lion. The inhibitor itself will be picked off, and Immunity now have this game well and truly in their hands. With the super minions in there, they should probably be able to push through for the victory from this one. We can see that Lion hanging back, trying to do as much as they can to keep these minions away from it, but both Nexus turrets falling simultaneously here. There goes the fight. They're going to dive straight in. Porky right in the middle of things, but honestly, he's not really the big target. It's actually Swipe who goes very low, pops his Zhonya's there right at the end. He will end up dying, but the rest of the team have absolutely hammered through. They're going to take the Nexus, and Immunity pick up the first game here in the wildcard tournament. Yeah, gamezon. Brilliant performance.
That was fantastic. I mean, 14-4 is the end score of that. 58.3 thousand gold to the 48.4 thousand gold. And the thing was, Immunity, just from the get-go, from how they played, with Rosie roaming around to pick up that early kill middle to allow Heavens to kind of get rolling in his lane to keep up his CS quite a bit. And with the whole composition they ran with this heavy CC, heavy AP damage, Lion just couldn't really defend against it with this composition.
And just overall, I mean, I just want to go through the kind of end-game scoreboard here and some of the scores that we saw put up by the Immunity team. 3-1-5 on Swiper's Lissandra. We saw him there coming in perfectly timed. Did die at the end. That was his first death as he's on you right next to the fountain. But no, he did end up with over 300 CS and a lot of kills and assists from that one. Alicia, who was the tank of the team there as well. We saw him getting involved often. We saw the Cataclysms, which were pretty much perfect. I think we can say the biggest team fight when it was still relatively close is that one in middle, where Alicia kind of went a little bit deep, walked away, but then re-engaged onto them and caught 3 up inside of that Cataclysm. They were able to then follow it up with all that CC. Then Evans, he got a good start. He ended up getting that first blood with the Syndra, which just helped so very much. With that DFG in there, with the Zhonya's, he's gonna burst anyone down, and it's almost impossible to kill him at the same time.
I think as we talked earlier on today about Heavens, and he's kind of the man to watch. He's the guy that really carried their team to the qualifiers, and kind of saw it again today. And now Immunity has to, well, now they're up 1 game. They kind of showed the composition they like to run, and they have to be really careful in their game coming up, because if they go for the same thing I think the other team should be able to kind of maybe counter it a little bit. I mean, that was just overkill in CC that they had. Every single champion had a form of CC, whether Twitch is slow, it still kind of counts right there. But I mean, just fantastic game. And I really like seeing compositions like that, because if you're going to play in the World Finals, you have to be able to run compositions that rely heavily on synergy. And they kind of pulled it off.
Not just kind of, they absolutely nailed it, I think we can say there. But you're right in terms of that kind of composition is going to become more predictable, and teams will watch that and be thinking, okay, so we should have that in the back of our minds when it comes to the next bans and the picks. One thing that really surprised me from Lion's side that we saw no cleanse coming out for Says. Actually did pick up a Quicksilver Sash, but honestly it was too late. Yeah, the fact is, even if you have a cleanse and a Quicksilver Sash, if you have both of them in there, there's still even more CC to lock you down from immunity side of things. So it was always going to be hard, but I think the cleanse for the earlier game where they did have those 3 or 2v1 outcomes to fights, I think it could have helped a lot more. Yeah, I mean, we see over in LCS in quite a few games where we see a Vayne, see a lot of CC on one team, they build a Blade of the Rune King and then QSS right after. Because you don't really need, well, you obviously need like a fan dancer after that, but you kind of need that out. And I think you're definitely right. Maybe if you had it in the fights a little bit earlier, they definitely would have been able to turn them around a little bit more. But you also kind of saw the game plan just in terms of his build, where Lion didn't want to fight. They didn't want a team fight. They just wanted to leave him alone farming as much as possible. And that's kind of why he built this way. You want to be able to duel Twitch if you went up head-to-head against him. But even at that point, I think with how far Twitch was, I don't think you would be able to take him 1v1 unless you did condemn him into the wall. And the thing is, Radier was so quiet throughout that game. He literally sat in that bottom lane for 3/4 of the match and just farmed and pushed and farmed and pushed. And we saw at that point then Vayne comes down to push back with a Bloodthirster and nothing really else. And he couldn't hold it. He was pushed back time and time again with a Pray and Spray coming down, and just overall a incredible performance coming out of immunity. We have to say as well from Lion's side of things. So we mentioned earlier they'd gone through the qualifiers from the Latin America North qualifier plus the Latin America regionals, won every single game, didn't lose a single match coming into this one. And I think from that you build up a lot of confidence anyway, from going through qualifiers, not just one qualifier, for 2 qualifiers and getting here without losing a game. And I think that made them feel very confident in this tournament as well. And I wonder if this is going to knock them back a little bit, losing quite heavily in their first game. I hope not, actually. I hope it really gives them that drive to do better in their games coming up. And it was the first taste at the international scene. They got 3 or 4 more to go after, or 3 more to go after this. And they got to really pick it up, because they cannot afford to really lose any more matches in this round robin. Okay, guys, so